hard-hitting questions. Jeez. Can't you just ask me who's going to be on the power play, please?
We already nailed that down. With the new downtown St. Paul training facility built as a state-of-the-art amenity, is Craig Leopold trying to lure in free agent players and or a buyer for the franchise?
I don't know about a buyer. I think that he wants to make this a family thing forever. Craig is having serious health issues right now and stuff like that. So with his hip and things like that. So I don't know how that affects that. But every time I talk to him about this, he says that this is now a family thing. And I think when he bought this, he had a 7 or 8 year plan and brought in the minority owner. It was Heisinger, I think, and then immediately got rid of him. Then brought in some other minority owners, but made it very clear that this is going to be a family thing, beyond him. So in terms of free agents, it helps. It's one of the best facilities that I've seen, although I haven't been to the back of most of the facilities. I've been in a lot of them, but I haven't been to the back. But this is something that they've tried for a long time. This is an organization that has to do drafts and drives at home. That's absurd. That happens on the road. But there's an NHL franchise that sometimes would have to go practice at Braemar or do a dress and drive to St. Thomas or Ritter or things like that. And, and there are a lot of conflicts in that building with the amount of concerts that they have and things like that. And especially last year with the Lynx being there and all that. So, I think this is something that was promised for years ago. I mean, I was joking with Koivu the other day. I'm like, 13 years into your freaking career, they finally built a practice facility. He's like, tell me about it. And this was something in negotiations with Parisi and Suter. This was something they were sort of, hey, we are in the works, going to get this, and it just didn't transpire until now.
John Hedges is sitting right there. He runs Fixology.
One thing. This isn't just a perk for the players. Like, I saw a lot of things, all these pampered millionaire athletes. This is good for the organization. Having TRIA one floor above where they are. Having, a rehab pool and a track and places where players aren't going to want to leave. These guys book it out of the arena. Now these guys might stay hours there. They got a chef, and, it's a good thing for the organization, I think.
Oh, I agree.
Sorry, Fixology.
It's okay. Thanks to John Hedges. He's here live at the show. He runs fixologyrepair.com, third floor of the Mall of America by Nordstrom, downtown, just south of the Wells Fargo Center in the Skyway. Or he'll just meet you at a Starbucks and hand you Russo's watch.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
First-class service.
There are some things in life that you just can't live without. Now, whether it's a special piece of jewelry, a watch, or even your smartphone, you want it in working condition. At Fixology Repair, we are committed to restoring your pieces so that everything works or fits the way it ought to. Watch servicing, chain repair, and broken screen replacements are just a few of the services that we offer at our 2 locations, Mall of America and the Skyway in downtown Minneapolis. Please visit us at fixologyrepair.com or at fixologymn on Twitter to learn more. Mention this ad and get a 10% discount on our services.
You should have Bite Squad deliver people's watches.
There you go. Yeah. Tell me about your interview with Coyle and Nino.
Oh, that was funny. Well, I interviewed him separately, but Coyle was just hilarious. He just like... The one thing I asked him about, because a lot of fans have said, is that, because it was sort of intimated by Bruce when I broke the story that he had wrist surgery in April or May, that this was not known by the training staff or Bruce or how serious it was, and that maybe Coyle wasn't communicating properly, and that it was because, and Bruce said it in a noble way, that he didn't want to, after missing a month and a half with the broken fibula and then coming back and struggling, that all of a sudden he has sore wrists and didn't want to take himself out of the lineup, and it was to eventually, and fans have said, well, that was to the detriment of the team and to him. And so I asked him about that, and the one thing he said is like, look, yeah, all that's true that Bruce said, but there was communication. I wasn't hiding it. We didn't get an MRI because we just thought it was sore. I just figured they were sprained, and then all of a sudden I got an MRI at the end of the year physicals, and we're like, holy mackerel, both tendons are torn on both wrists, and who could think that could possibly happen on both wrists? So they just probably thought that it was sore, through wear and tear or getting nudged or whatever. So it was funny, but then he was talking about post-op and essentially having a shower with oven mitts on and both, it's one thing, we've all you hurt you burn your hand or you break your wrist and you got to put the bag over it to make sure, this guy, both wrists where like it reminds me. What wasn't that Seinfeld episode when wasn't Danny Tartable was driving or something, and one of them had like both wrists and thought that he got flipped off or whatever. It reminds me of that Seinfeld episode. That must have been what he was like. So he's like, just imagine showering with oven mitts and you drop the soap and like, what do you do? And so it was funny. So I put all these like funny classic Charlie Coyle like quotes in the story. So that was part of it. But both the bottom line of the story is both of them realized that last year wasn't good enough, and they hope for health because they feel like that's what caused last year's season not being good enough. And if they can be healthy this year, they'll go back to what players are accustomed to, because Nino was not very good last year also, with the same exact scenario. Both of them get hurt in Game 3, high ankle sprain for Nino, broken fibula for Coyle. He only misses 2 weeks when we all know that high ankle sprains take a lot longer to recover from, but he comes back, he rushes himself back, then he gets hurt again in December. They think it's the same thing, or a bone bruise. Turns out that then he rushes back again a second time, and he gets a hat trick in his first game. Then he could barely walk into the Pepsi Center, couldn't leave that game, and it turned out he actually had a broken fibula. So he misses 3 weeks, and then he's chasing it the rest of the year. He also is like, look, I'm disappointed in myself. It was totally his fault. He said totally my fault for trying to come back early. But look, you all want to play and play better. So that's the gist of the story. But a funny story on the Nino thing, and the reason why I slid it in there, the stuff about Dumba, if you read the story, is the other day I'm having lunch at Whole Foods over here by the Federal Reserve, and there's Nino, and he's buying all this healthy food, and I said, "Oh, what are you doing?" And he goes, "I'm cooking Dumba dinner tonight."
Really?
Yeah, he's got asparagus and onions and mushrooms and ribeyes and all this stuff on it. So I've said this before, but there's a building here in downtown Minneapolis that's basically like the Wild Building. There's like 7 guys that live in it. Be a great story to write one day. So Dumbo, they were going to the Bruno Mars concert, so he made Dumba dinner. And then they went to the Bruno concert, but Dumbo said it was so good that he's going to now every single time just come over to Nino's house for like pregame meals and stuff. So Nino got himself in trouble. So
that's awesome.
Yep.
Again, Delano's Pizza, 118 North 4th Street, downtown Minneapolis, is right by Ramp C. It has a big parking lot adjacent to it. Big screen TVs, bubble hockey, a jukebox, great pizza, great menu, drinks, craft beers. We highly recommend the place. 612-767-9494 if you want to get a hold of them, or delanospizza.com. Oh, we have a question from Mary.
Just wondering how Sealer looked the other night. Sounds like he was a beast.
Yeah, he was just a battler. I thought him and Patterson were good. Yeah. He got into a fight, Sealer, with Brendan Lemieux, which is Claude Lemieux's son, who is this is a guy that last year in the minors, I think, had 180 penalty minutes, so he is a tough customer. And Sealer, who, as we all know, tough customer, a little bit nuts on the ice, but he's a college kid. He's not exactly a fighter. So he went toe-to-toe with him. And as I think I mentioned, it was supposed to run last week, and I've been kind of pushing it back each day because I wanted to run on a good day, and there's other stories. Like tomorrow I'm doing another big story that I got to write before I drive to Iowa, so I'll probably write it for Friday. But I got together with Sealer and his dad the other day, and it was a hoot, man. And that's why I've been kind of pushing it back, because the one thing I noticed this at the Strip too, and I notice it with our numbers now, is that it's Viking season right now. Like people just aren't wired for the Wild yet, but the closer you get to the season, they start to get excited. So right now, it's sort of like the hits on my stories. I haven't really felt the need, not the need. It's like I really think if I write this well, it's going to be a great story, but I want people to read it. So it's like I'm kind of like pushing it back toward closer to the season when I just feel like the numbers will kind of double. And so I don't want to waste it, because I've felt like there are a couple stories I've worked hard on so far that when I look at the numbers, I feel like I wasted it. But I like Sealer, man. I just think he's going to be a heck of a player for this team.
And Greenway.
Yeah, I mean Greenway looks good. I still think that there's certain flaws in his game that he's going to play in this NHL. He's got to go harder than net. There's certain routes that he's got to take that aren't going to happen. But last night he set an unbelievable play for Ryan Murphy, and I like him. I'm usually a proponent of you got to go to the minors, and I actually think that it's good if he starts here. And then if he struggles, I think send him down there and get some help. I think I'm doing this awesome, well, not awesome. I haven't written it yet, and we'll see. Jim will be the judge if it's awesome. But I'm doing this big feature on Tim Arby for tomorrow, the new IO coach. Holy mackerel, is this guy a big bundle of personality? I mean, it was a fun interview. So I'm writing that tomorrow. So and I think he's going to be good. I think Tim Army getting his hands on Sokolov, it wouldn't be bad for him to at some point get his hands on Greenway and try to kind of mold these guys, because he is a true player's coach.
Great, thanks.
I got some Mary. Now we're going to roast Mary, making
any good articles on Granny coming up?
Yeah, well,
how's he looking?
No,
so
no,
far?
we're going to just talk a little bit of you for a second. So last week. Poor Mary sends me a direct message on Twitter saying, "Hey, are they skating tomorrow?" And it never sent. As her screen capture showed, it just said sending a day later. So all of a sudden she tweets me from the arena and says nobody's here. I'm like, yeah, they're all at a golf tournament, So that was bad. But then the funniest thing is a couple days later, and I feel bad about this. I didn't see it, but Mary sent me a direct message saying, "It's my birthday. Can you get Granny to say happy birthday to me?" Finish. And even if I saw it, Mary, I would not have been able to do that. I'm sorry. I cannot.
Wishful thinking.
That same thing. It's like, when we sign our papers for the league to get our credential, it says no autographs, please. It now should start saying no social media, no taking videos of the players, sending fans messages. So, but what you should have done is sent something to Koivu and had Koivu do it, because he would have been absolutely happy to do it.
Yes, absolutely. Let's hit some Twitter questions. We'll still take live questions if anybody else has any more. They've been very good so far. I do want to thank Tony Hoagland, Hoaglund, State Farm agent based in Champlin. He handles my insurance. He handles Michael's, and he has business cards up here if you want to check it out. Otherwise, just Google him, Tony, Hoaglund.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans. This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Hoagland. I need you all to ask yourselves this question. If you're in an at-fault car accident and you are sued for $700,000, how much of that $700,000 will my current insurance company pay? If you are unsure or can't answer all $700,000, you need to give us a call. State Farm has been number one in car insurance since World War II and number one in homeowners insurance since 1964. For a no-obligation review of your current policies, call us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at www.champlininsurance.com.
What subject do you want to start off on? Oh, you know what? I do worry about the American economy now that it's hockey season. Do you stop shopping?
Yeah, I know. It gets
no more wooden watches, no more candles, no more pickles.
Well, maybe candles and pickles.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Bert's up with his Orioles shirt on, which I love.
Hey, I'm brave wearing it in public. Sorry, get away from that feedback. Okay, well, first of all, I'm looking forward to the Tim Army story tomorrow, so I'll look. Because I had friends in Pennsylvania that were season tickets for the Penguins, for Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins for years, so and they bragged them up. So
yeah.
My mother's born in Scranton.
What's that?
My mother's from Scranton.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's not too far from where I grew up. So I'm going to be your knight in shining armor, no hard-hitting questions. So,
I know. I saw you on the town hall.
Yeah, well, I was standing next to Gorg. That makes
that was a good one, Vicky. Come on.
Yeah. I mean,
laugh.
We were worried about our bald spots bouncing the lights off everybody and getting in their eyes. So, all right. So this is one thing I re-listened to the show from the fair with you and Coach Boudreau. Mm-hmm. So, and one thing you said at the end was how he'd be good on a podcast. So the NHL Network comes out. They want a 3-coach podcast. First coach, Tortorella. Second coach, Boudreau. Who's the third coach that could keep up with him in an unscripted, uncensored event?
It's a good question, Bert.
It is, but I got to think. Maybe Rick Tocchet.
Hitchcock, if he's still around.
Yeah, he is. Well, he's not around coaching, but he sent me a text yesterday, actually.
He's the best.
Hitch is hilarious. So you know how Hitch, his big shtick is that he'll sit there and pump up the other team, even though when he doesn't mean it. It's hilarious. When you're interviewing, he'll just rave. Yesterday he just sends me a text unsolicited. He goes, "Man, the Wild are going to be a handful with Koivu, Stahl, and Greenway," and it's like, come on, Hitch, you're not coaching anymore. You're not fooling me. I mean, Trotz would be good in that setting, but it wouldn't be like as entertaining probably as Tortorella. But he'd be good in that setting. I mean, even Yossi would be good in that setting. I don't know Jim Montgomery. Tocchet probably would. Jared Bednar is really good at talking, but I don't know him if he'd be great in that type of setting. Carlisle, Bruce wouldn't show up. Calgary, Edmonton. I love Todd McKellar.